There's a new console game coming for the Winx Reboot, The Magic is Back. And I was kindly given the opportunity to ask some questions to the developers of the game, which releases in a month's time. So today I'll be reading out the full Q&A, I'll be giving my thoughts and reactions to their answers, and then at the end we're going to have another look at the trailer and see what we can expect from this game. Thank you to you guys for answering my community post and helping me come up with some of these questions. You guys had a lot of great suggestions, and hopefully I was able to condense it down to the most important questions that they'd be able to answer. How and when did development on this game begin? Did Rainbow reach out to the team specifically, or vice versa? Development began in mid-2024 as an internal prototype. There was mutual interest from both sides, and since then we've been working in close collaboration. I remember around mid-2024 was when we got the first official clip of the brand new series, which must mean the game's development began very early on in the show's production. That was around the time that they were still changing the outfits, so who knows how many revisions they had to do to meet the final version. Were there any fans of the original Winx Club series in the development team that were excited to be working on the game? How familiar was the team with the franchise in general? Yes, several team members grew up watching Winx Club. However, the game is based on the latest reboot of the series, so we've had very active support from Rainbow to help us with any questions that came up during development. To me, this makes sense. I think even if it's expected that a lot of old Winx fans will return to play this game, there's still going to be a new audience brought about by the reboot who are playing this for the first time, and that reboot needs to be the biggest focus of the game for sure. And it's good to see that Rainbow was so responsive and helpful during everything. I'm sure that means the game's going to be really accurate to the reboot. What was it like for the dev team to work alongside Rainbow to bring this game to life? Were there any guidelines set by them, or was the team given creative freedom when interpreting the series into this game? Working with Rainbow has been a great experience. We've had constant and fluid communication to ensure that all characters and elements from the series were properly represented, while still being given enough creative freedom to design the action gameplay and make key development decisions. While developing the game, did the team take any inspiration from the Winx Club video game published 20 years ago by Konami? Is there anything in particular for nostalgic fans of the original game to look out for? Even before starting the project and throughout development, the team looked closely at all previous Winx Club games. This helped us make decisions and capture the atmosphere built over so many years of the franchise, as well as better understand fan expectations. This is interesting. I'm sure they can't give much away, but perhaps there are some references to other games, not just the first one, or any elements inspired by those. I haven't played all of them, but if the final game comes out and you guys notice anything, do let me know, because it would be interesting to see what they've taken from each project. Will the game follow the story of Winx Club The Magic is Back? If not, can anything unique to the game be considered canon in the story? The game's story is not a direct adaptation of the show's script. It's a parallel story that takes place during the events of the first season, and it includes new elements created specifically for the game. I think this is the most important information for me. I didn't expect it to have a different story to the show. I know there were some slight differences in the original PC game that we just spoke about for Season 1, but I assumed they'd taken so many things from the reboot that it was just going to be a retelling in game form. But this is cool. I had a side question for this, where I was going to ask if the game's taking any elements from Part 2, because I'm sure that this game is coming out before Part 2 of the reboot. So maybe the game spoils a bit of the rest of the story, but if it's not exactly the same as the show, then I guess it won't be that serious. What was the biggest challenge for the team when adapting such a well-known franchise into a game? Did the team have any experience with similar projects? The biggest challenge was that much of development happened simultaneously with the production of the series. This required extra communication with Rainbow, as they were also deep in their creative process. A large part of the team has experience with other licensed games, and we approached this project with the goal of making the best Winx Club game to date. This must have been tricky. It's a well-known fact that they were changing things till the last minute. We saw from the trailer that came out just a month before the BBC release in the UK that some of the shots were still being adjusted, animations for the series were being redone, they were recompositing a bunch of scenes, although the stuff I'm mentioning doesn't really concern the game, but there could have been more behind the scenes, I don't know. There have been quite a few well-received Winx games in the past. On the Maximum Entertainment website, they have a lot of franchise projects that they've done before, so if you guys have played any of these, feel free to share your thoughts on those. I'm looking forward to see how they adapt this series for sure. Which aspect of the game is the development team most excited for fans to see and react to? We're very excited about the magical combat system. We believe the battles throughout the levels are very satisfying and fun. Players will also be able to enjoy local co-op for 2 players, which makes combat even more entertaining. We see this as one of the game's strongest points. Is there anything that had to be scrapped, perhaps due to time constraints or technical limitations, that the dev team would have loved to see in the final game? Yes, absolutely. In early development, Althea was planned to be just one of the first levels. We soon realized it deserved a bigger role, so we invested a lot of effort into making it more playable and explorable. I'm assuming that this response means that other things were scrapped to make space for Althea to be bigger in the game, because this is almost like the opposite of the question, but it's good to know that they stuck to Althea considering the show revolves so much around the school. Seeing how the game development pipeline has evolved in recent years, was any generative AI used in the making of the game? No, we didn't use generative AI. All visual and audio content needed to remain faithful to the series, and programming was handled by our experienced team. We prioritized a handcrafted approach. Unfortunately, we as fans now have this preconceived notion that everything related to the reboot is AI generated because of the alleged behind the scenes of the series, and also whatever the official YouTube channel is up to right now. It's a shame to see them handle their content on YouTube as a testing ground of sorts, so they can just play around with very obvious Gen AI tools and see what sticks.
Hey, Fairy Squad! If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
It's important to remember that the people behind that social media and the people behind the series are not the same people behind the game, since this was an external project done just in collaboration with what was given to them. But as it is a franchise game, it will inevitably have that association. So it is a self-setup for this kind of criticism for any reboot project moving forward. It is wonderful to see that all 6 Winx members are playable. Will they each have an individual ability that can be useful in certain situations? Or do they all share the same movements and skill set? Yes, you can play as all 6 Winx, and switching between them is very fast, which keeps the gameplay pace dynamic. Each Winx has different attacks, but we didn't want one to be stronger than another. Players can use their favourite freely in combat, only needing to switch for certain puzzles tied to specific abilities. Now that this confirms it, in the trailer you can literally see just how quick the switch is. Like, I'm assuming it's just one button. The trailer also shows that you can use magic in their civilian forms, so maybe transformations can also be activated this quickly. In fact, that's exactly what this Aisha clip shows too, never mind. The civilian and fairy outfits have been shown in the trailer so far, and they look very accurate to the series. Will it be possible to unlock or purchase other outfits within the game? A lot of effort went into faithfully recreating the Winx in both forms in terms of proportions, animation, and materials. Unfortunately, although more outfits and a wardrobe system were initially planned, it wasn't possible to include them in the final game. I won't lie guys, I'm not the biggest fan of the outfits in the reboot, but I'm sure some of you are, and it's a shame that there aren't more customizing features in the game, although later on I ask about DLC, so that could change. Some animations shown in the game trailer, such as Darcy and Stormy's walk cycles, look almost identical to those in the series. Were these provided by the animation studio that worked on the series? How closely did your team and theirs work when translating assets into the game? We worked from official references provided by Rainbow. However, we couldn't use the show's animations directly due to different technologies. Our animators recreated everything from scratch, always guided by those references and in close collaboration with Rainbow. Okay, I know this seems like a really weird question. I just wanted to know. When I was watching the trailer, I literally saw that clip of Darcy and Stormy walking, and I just had flashbacks to that Dark Bloom entrance.
Everybody they know how much your power flows.
I'm sure some of you remember from my reviews, I was literally judging every single walk animation, so I just wanted to know if that was the case. Are there any cutscenes featured alongside gameplay, either from the show or completely original to the game? Yes, the game includes integrated cutscenes. For example, the Winx transformation sequences were provided by Rainbow specifically for the game. The game also features in-engine animations that are essential to the narrative. I think one of these in-engine animations was what I was referring to in the last question, which is that kind of fake cutscene with the black bars making the aspect ratio different. I'm sure that's what they mean by those, and then, we know the Winx transformation sequences, we're used to them by now.
How did I do that? I'm Musa, and I'm Techna.
Assuming the game follows a story, will there be any side missions or free play through which players can continue to explore the game once the story mode has been completed? The game is structured around action and puzzle levels, connected by a hub area where most of the narrative takes place. There are optional secondary objectives throughout the game, and once the story mode is completed, players unlock a free play mode to replay levels and achieve 100%. A multiplayer feature has been teased in the trailer as well. Will this be online or local? Multiplayer will be local offline, playable on the same console or PC. See, had I just gone back and read the description, I could have saved myself from asking this question, but it's fine, we got the answer anyway. Can we expect any DLC or bonus content after the game's release? It would depend on the game reception. We have a ton of ideas for a DLC. Just wanted to give a huge thanks again to the team who approached me with the Q&A opportunity. I think that was really nice of them, and thank you to all the devs who answered the questions. But now I just wanted to look more at the trailer and see any details that maybe you guys have missed, or other things that we've been shown so far. For example, I don't recognize these blue things. They could be one of the new game elements, but these little green goblin gremlin thingies, I think I remember they were from episode 3, when they were getting Stella's ring back in the Cloud Tower ruins, I think? So they're definitely returning here. It says one of the missions is to find Riven, so I assume the specialists are also in the game somehow, whether it's as background characters or just by name. We'll find out soon. There's also a store where you can buy power boosters. I'm assuming that's what the logos under the health bar mean. Again, no idea what these purple things are. They must be new elements again. There's also this big orange version of the episode 3 monster. Interesting. Behind them you can see these circles with patterns on them which seem to represent specific fairies. Maybe that's one of the things where you have to change your character to be able to proceed. I'm assuming the hearts are for Bloom and then the stars are for Stella. Oh yeah, there was also this picture that they shared online, which seems to have Bloom fighting Nut, well, the reboot equivalent of Nut, and Techna in the corner fearing for her life. He's also going to be relevant in the game, which is good. I think that's pretty much everything for now. I'm looking forward to playing the game when it's out. Hopefully I'll make a video of that as well. The official release day is April 30th, which is just about a month from now. A lot of the fan reactions kind of mixed. I see lots of people hoping that it would have been a game for the old series, of course, understandable, makes sense. But there are also some older fans who are willing to give it a chance, and I see there's a lot of excitement built up for it as well. There was also this viral post, which means there's plenty of people interested to play when it's out. Honestly, it's great to see another Winx console game after such a long time. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Will you be buying the game and giving it a go? What do you hope to see in the final game? Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you in the next one.